Hi friends, in this video I wanted to show you a tool that was introduced in Reapertips that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough. It's just one of my favorite things in Reaper, and I remember when it was first introduced it was really confusing to me, but after a few years it's just my favorite thing ever. I use the Razor Edit tool pretty much every day, and I use it for editing and also for creating songs. So in this video I'm going to show you a bunch of really cool things that you can do with this, so let's get started. Starting with the basics, to make a Razor Edit, all you need to do is hold Alt on Windows or Option on a Mac and click and drag by using your right click like this, and you will see this little razor icon appear in your cursor. So that means that you're doing a Razor Edit. So as you click and drag and then you release it, you will see this outline. And now with this selection you can do many things. For example, for this song, let's say I don't like the guitars in this part, so I'm gonna make a Razor Edit around that area, and I can just hit delete and it's just gonna delete exactly the area that I selected. But not only that, you can also click and drag with your left click to anywhere else in your project, and as you can see, it's replacing whatever is underneath. Now you're starting to see why this is the best thing ever, because let's say that I want to just replace these guitars over here. I can just do a Razor Edit around this area. I can move them over there and now they're replaced, and now those are my new guitars. Or my favorite way, which is holding Command on Mac or Control on Windows and clicking and dragging to duplicate that area into this new area. One thing, as you mentioned, for this type of cases is that you need to have the snap setting enabled in order to snap the Razor Edit to the grid. That way you get a precise selection of exactly that musical area that you want to work with. Another way I use this is that, for example, I will make changes to a drum section in here that also appears in another place in the song, and I want to just move this real quick to this place. I want to replace this item with this item. I would do a Razor Edit over this area, press Control or Command and click and drag with your left click to that point, and you'll see it will get replaced. So now these two are equal. Now you don't necessarily need to replace every time. You can of course use this to add new sections to your arrangement. So for example, what if I want this whole section, this whole thing, I want it over here, I want to create a new section using this. You will do the same thing. You will select that area, or you can do Command C to copy and paste it over here. Oops, paste it over here. But my favorite way to do this is just clicking and dragging while holding Control or Command on Mac. So you would do it like this. Now we got the new section, and you can even be more specific with your selection. And this is where multiple Razor Edits come into play. So now that we know that you need to hold Alt and right click drag to make a Razor Edit like this, what if you want to make multiple selections, multiple Razor Edits? You just hold Alt, the same thing, but now also hold Shift. And now you should be able to have multiple selections like this, multiple Razor Edits. And this is super helpful. Look at this. I'm gonna make a crazy selection so you can see very visually what's gonna happen. So I have now full control over all of these areas, and I can click and drag them anywhere in the project, and they're gonna preserve the same order that I grabbed them from. So let's put this back to how it was. So a more realistic scenario is that you want to create a new section and you only want to bring in certain parts. So only the drum and bass and just the synth, and this guitar can come as well. So I'll bring this over like I show you, like this, and I can duplicate this however many times I want it. And maybe I want to use these drums over here and do the same thing over here. Now I got these drums, and maybe I want to use these guitars for this last part. So yeah, with Razor Edits you can use it to move areas, to replace areas, to remove areas, anything area related. It's just the best tool for it. Another fun thing that you can do with this is that you can select a whole area like this and hold Alt, and you will see this little hand in the edge, and you can use it to stretch the whole area like this. This is very different to doing it manually, which you can do it with items. In this way, each item is gonna get stretched individually, but if you do it with razor edits, you can do the whole area and get that whole part to be slower or much faster. Pretty cool. Now I want you to notice that everything we explained about razor edits so far can be applied to envelopes. It's the same thing, the same logic, and you can do even more stuff with it. It's super cool. So let's say that I have this section that sounds like this. What if I want this super cool volume automation that I got going on in here? What if I want to apply to this other section here? Super simple, it's just the same logic. You would do a razor edit around that area and then copy this with Command C or Command B, or even better, if you do it the way that I show you with the Command or Control drag and left click like this, and you can move this anywhere you want. So let's say that for the second half I want that repeating volume thing in there, so it's gonna sound like this. And I also get a cool panning thing going on here. Maybe I also want that over there as well. So I'm just gonna make sure that I don't have anything selected. Razor edit, and just move that just like that. It's just so simple. It's just so simple this way, and I cannot imagine doing this a better way than doing this, because you can select exactly the area that you want from here to here. I just want those automations and I want to move them over here, and that's it. It's just so simple and nice. Now there's some special stuff that you can do when you razor edit over an envelope area. So if you do something like this where you select a bunch of envelope points with a razor edit, you will notice that if you click and drag any of the points, it's just gonna move all of them accordingly. And the same thing can be done if you select any of the points that are on the left or right side, but this time it's just gonna tilt it like this. So you can do a combination of those two. So you can, for example, kind of compress this and make them like this, and maybe drag this to make the whole tilt like that, and that's just gonna sound like this. Radial. Very cool, and that was just 3 clicks. Very awesome. And there's a few additional shortcuts that you can do. For example, if you hold Control or Command as you click and drag in the middle, you can compress the envelopes or expand them or invert them like that while holding Control or Command. This is super useful to make your effects more subtle. So for example, if I have it like this, it's just not gonna be so crazy. Or I can invert it so it goes. That's a different rhythm and I like that. And there's one more shortcut where you hold Shift and Control or Command on Mac, where it's gonna start compressing at the top or start compressing at the bottom. It just works depending on the side that the envelopes are on. Okay, let's have some fun. I'm just gonna open a new project and make a quick beat to demonstrate how I usually use razor edits. So starting with the kick on the first, so whatever kick, I'm not even gonna listen to them. Whatever snare, chirpy, I like this name. Whatever hat, something, wait, okay, something like that. Yeah, that works. So that is good. So now if you try to duplicate this normally by selecting the items and pressing Command D, just not gonna work. It's just gonna be a mess. It's because it's just using the last item to be right next to each other. It's not exactly on the beat. That's why razor edits are so good, because you can pretty much just make the selection of the whole bar and do Command D, Command D, Command D, and now that's your beat in there. Okay, maybe I should add more hats. So pretty simple. I'm just gonna select this hat. I already made the selection of lasting one bar already. And from here, I can just go boom, Command D, and just hold that to span that. And now I have a bunch of hats. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's select maybe this and duplicate this. And maybe we don't want some hats in here. And this is where doing multiple razor edits can be so helpful. And I'm gonna delete some of them. So let's see how it sounds like. So now what if you want to kick every 2 beats? All you need to do is just make a razor edit and your area is going to be 2 beats, and do Command D, Command D, Command D, or Control D if you're on Windows. And now you have the kick every 2 beats like this. And now I can select some that I don't want. So very helpful. Now I like this part much better than the other part in here, so I'm just gonna click and drag while holding Control or Command to replace that whole section. And maybe I wanna always use the same kick and snare pattern, so I'm just gonna duplicate that. So you get the idea. It can be a really musical kind of edit, and just gonna speed the process to get your ideas down real quick. Now, I highly suggest looking into the shortcuts by going into the settings menu. You go to options, settings, and then go to mouse modifier, which is over here at the bottom. Mouse modifier. You can see the razor edit area shortcuts. And in here you can see all of the shortcuts available, and also you can customize any of this however you want it. I did customize a few of them. So for example, for control or command, I have remove items. So this happens when you click on a razor area while holding this shortcut, it's just gonna remove it. So I have another one called ripple delete, and I did make a whole video about this. It's one of my favorite edit ways to do stuff, where if I hold option as I click, it will move. And I got remove one area. And yeah, a lot of times I will have a lot of multiple razor edits and I want to remove just one area. So I'll just have that so I can delete any of the areas real quick in case I change my mind about that area. And this last script that I can put in the description, you can get via Repack. It trims the left and right edges to exactly the razor area. So that's really helpful for guitar recording. I usually record my guitar and then just get the best part and just trim the edges so it fits just the part that I need and save that for later. And that's it. I hope this video inspired you to use more razor edits in your workflow, but I totally understand if you're super used to using maybe time selection or other workarounds. It's very hard getting used to other workflows, but it's something that you can consider, or just stay with whatever works for you. That's the beauty of Reaper. Everyone can just use whatever they want and set up stuff that whatever they want. It's all up to you, and I'll see you next time, my friend. Bye bye.